Gene Hackman's wife, Betsy Arakawa, supposedly couldn't have made a phone call on February 12th. She was reported to have passed away the day before. Yet, mobile records tell a different story. A call that shouldn't exist was placed, and a missed call lit up her screen. But who was on the other end? Authorities have now confirmed that the timeline of her passing has been thrown into question. If Betsy was alive that morning, what really happened next? A simple mix-up? A technical glitch? Or something far more unsettling within Gene Hackman's home? The deeper the truth unravels, the stranger it becomes. These are my personal musings, not definitive claims. But if these anomalies hold any weight, the Hackman saga is far from over. February 26, 2025, Santa Fe, New Mexico. The passing of Hollywood legend Gene Hackman and his wife, Betsy Arakawa Hackman, sent shockwaves through the media and their fans. Initially, the event seemed straightforward. Betsy was said to have succumbed to complications from the rare H-virus pulmonary syndrome on February 11th. About a week later, Gene followed, his health failing due to heart issues and Alzheimer's. It all seemed settled until the Santa Fe County Sheriff dropped a bombshell. On February 12th, a full day after Betsy's reported passing, her phone made 3 calls to Cloudberry Health, a Santa Fe medical center. Even more baffling that afternoon, her phone registered a missed call from the same facility. If Betsy had already passed on February 11th, who made those calls the next day? And perhaps even more chillingly, who was meant to answer that afternoon? Phone records don't lie. And according to the sheriff's official report, this mystery is just beginning. Betsy's phone made 3 calls to Cloudberry Health on the morning of February 12th, a paradox that defies explanation. How could someone no longer alive use their phone? Things grew even stranger when Cloudberry Health called her back that afternoon. The call went unanswered, but if Betsy had truly passed on February 11th, why was her phone still active? This revelation upends the official timeline. Medical records state she died on February 11th, yet her phone activity on the 12th suggests otherwise. Was the health report incorrect, or did someone else use her phone that morning? Days after the mysterious calls made headlines, Dr. Josiah Child, head of Cloudberry Health, broke his silence in a Daily Mail interview. His statement was shocking. Mrs. Hackman didn't die on February 11th because she called my clinic on February 12th. According to Dr. Child, Betsy contacted the clinic that morning to book an appointment. Weeks earlier, she had inquired about an echocardiogram for Gene, but canceled on February 10th, saying he wasn't well. Then, on the morning of the 12th, she called again to reschedule. Dr. Child emphasized that she showed no signs of the H-virus, the reported cause of her death. She did not exhibit any symptoms of respiratory distress, he insisted. The appointment had nothing to do with the virus. But the most unsettling detail, Betsy never showed up for her newly scheduled checkup. And when Cloudberry Health called her that afternoon, no one picked up. This raises alarming questions. If Betsy was alive that morning, why didn't she make it to the clinic? And if she truly passed on February 11th, who made that call on the 12th? The calls cast doubt on the entire case. If Betsy lived into February 12th, what happened after? Was the forensic report flawed? What exactly did she say to Cloudberry Health? And who, if not Betsy, received the call from the clinic that afternoon? As soon as this information surfaced, Santa Fe police were forced to reevaluate everything. The official timeline was no longer certain. That February 12th call didn't just disrupt the investigation, it directly contradicted the initial forensic conclusions. If Betsy had died on February 11th, how did her phone make calls the next morning? The Santa Fe Sheriff's Office responded with a stunning announcement. Betsy Arakawa Hackman did not pass on February 11th as previously believed. Sheriff Jonathan Ruiz, standing before a swarm of reporters, reopened the case. We have compelling evidence suggesting that Mrs. Hackman was alive on the morning of February 12th. That means we must reconsider the entire timeline of her passing. The revelation was a bombshell. If Betsy didn't die on February 11th, what really happened next? At the center of this mystery stood Dr. Josiah Child, who had spoken to Betsy just hours before her phone went silent. In an exclusive New York Times interview, he confirmed, "Mrs. Hackman called my clinic the morning of February 12th. She spoke to my receptionist. She was booking an appointment. She sounded completely normal. This statement sent shockwaves through the case. If Betsy was truly gone by February 11th, then who placed that call the next morning? Police verified Cloudberry Health's call logs. Betsy's number appeared at 8:17, 8:22, and 8:35 a.m. on February 12th. Stranger still, she had booked a checkup for herself for February 13th. Why would someone who had already passed schedule a doctor's appointment? Dr. Child remained adamant. Betsy was clear, alert, and very much alive during that conversation. The appointment wasn't even related to the H virus. She had been concerned about her heart, possibly tied to stress over Gene's declining health. But then, she never made it to her scheduled visit. That afternoon, Cloudberry Health tried calling her back. Instead of a response, they reached her voicemail. From that moment on, Betsy Arakawa Hackman vanished from all phone activity. A closer look at her records revealed last outgoing call, 8:35 a.m. February 12th to Cloudberry Health. Last incoming call, 3:46 p.m. February 12th from Cloudberry Health, unanswered. After 3:46 p.m., her phone went silent. No texts, no calls, no digital footprint. Her phone was active in the morning. By the afternoon, it was as if she had disappeared. Faced with this contradiction, police had no choice but to reconsider the initial forensic report. Betsy's cause of death had been attributed to the H virus, a rare rodent-borne illness. But Dr. Child maintained that she showed no symptoms when he last spoke to her. This leaves two chilling possibilities. The forensic report was wrong. Betsy didn't die on February 11th, meaning something happened to her later that day. Someone else used her phone that morning, raising even darker questions. With public pressure mounting, Sheriff Ruiz vowed a full reinvestigation. The new evidence forces us to reconsider everything we thought we knew about Mrs. Hackman's death. We will leave no stone unturned. This means revisiting forensics, re-examining witness statements, and investigating potential third-party involvement. If Betsy was alive on the morning of February 12th, then this is no longer a simple case of medical tragedy. It's an unsolved mystery. For weeks, the world believed Betsy Hackman passed on February 11th. But one phone call changed everything. She was active that morning, then suddenly she wasn't. Now, the burning question remains. What really happened to Betsy Hackman after that final call? Then, on February 14th, 2025, Santa Fe police received an urgent call from the Hackmans' longtime housekeeper. Margaret Ortiz's panicked voice sent officers rushing to the Hackman residence. He's still sitting there, eating breakfast like nothing's wrong, but she's not responding anymore. When police arrived, they found legendary actor Gene Hackman in the living room, holding a teacup, gazing blankly out the window. Just steps away in the main bedroom, Betsy Hackman's body lay still. How long had she been there? No one could say for sure. But the most unsettling question was this. How had Gene Hackman lived in that house with his wife for days, possibly a week, without realizing she was gone? More pressing, did he truly not know? Or was there another reason for his lack of reaction? Early forensic analysis suggested Betsy had been deceased for at least 7 days, meaning Gene had unknowingly shared the home with her all that time. The initial cause was listed as H virus pulmonary syndrome, a rare, rodent-borne infection. But one glaring issue stood out. If Betsy died of H virus and John had been in close proximity to her for a week, why wasn't he sick? This contradiction raised serious doubts. H virus spreads through the air and is especially dangerous to the elderly. Yet Gene showed no symptoms. Dr. Caroline Vega, a forensic specialist, proposed another possibility. Gene's early-stage Alzheimer's may have prevented him from recognizing his wife's passing. Close friends had noticed Gene's memory slipping in recent years. Though he remained articulate in conversations, Alzheimer's can cause gaps in awareness, particularly regarding major emotional events like the loss of a loved one. But something still felt off. Gene wasn't living in the total isolation. Margaret Ortiz, the Hackmans' longtime housekeeper, visited daily, cleaning, cooking, and occasionally chatting with Betsy. How had no one noticed anything sooner? When questioned, Ortiz appeared shaken. She revealed that, starting February 11th, Betsy stopped appearing for her usual morning reading routine. She'd always sit in her chair with a book, But from February 11th onward, I didn't see her. I asked Mr. Hackman and he just said, "She's sleeping." Ortiz assumed Betsy was under the weather, possibly resting from a mild illness. She continued her work, never daring to enter Betsy's bedroom. Then, something unnerved her. On February 13th, I heard a phone ringing from Mrs. Betsy's bedroom. It was Cloudberry Health's missed call from 3:46 p.m. on February 12th, per police records. But as Ortiz approached the bedroom door, the ringing abruptly stopped. Then, Gene appeared behind her. He put his hand on my shoulder and said, "Don't go in there, she needs rest." His voice was calm, but his eyes, his expression, felt different. "I saw fear in him," Ortiz whispered. This moment deepened the mystery. If Gene was unaware of Betsy's passing, why stop Ortiz from entering the room? Why had he gone an entire week without calling anyone? No family, no friends, no assistant, no manager. And what about the lone text on his phone from February 12th, from an unknown number, reading, "Don't answer it"? 3 theories emerged. Gene's Alzheimer's blinded him to Betsy's passing. But if that's true, why didn't others notice something was wrong sooner? Betsy didn't actually die on February 11th. Her February 12th calls to Cloudberry suggest she was still alive that morning. If so, who was in the house with her later? Gene was isolated or manipulated. Someone may have restricted his contact, controlled information, and prevented him from reacting. The biggest questions: who sent the text saying, "Don't answer it"? If Betsy died of H virus, why was Gene unharmed? And most crucially, what really happened between Betsy's morning phone call on February 12th and her total disappearance from contact? A timeline of disturbing phone activity. At 3:46 p.m. on February 12th, a missed call from Cloudberry Health logged on Betsy's phone. The chilling part? She was supposedly already gone since February 11th. Sheriff Raymond Keller ordered a deep dive into Betsy's carrier data. What he found shattered the initial assumptions. Betsy's phone wasn't just receiving calls. It was turned on and moved several times between February 11th and 13th. But a deceased person can't use a phone. So, who did? Strange phone movements? Police recovered GPS data from the Hackman residence, revealing 2 key moments where Betsy's phone was moved. 4:17 a.m. on February 12th. The phone activated in the living room, Gene's usual morning spot. 2:52 p.m. on February 12th. The phone lit up in the bedroom, just 54 minutes before Cloudberry's missed call. After that, nothing. The phone remained untouched, but clearly someone had moved it that morning and afternoon. Dr. Josiah Child, who made the February 12th call to Betsy, was stunned. She called Cloudberry Health that morning to book a checkup. I was just confirming. I had no idea she had already passed, or was about to. This flipped police assumptions. If Betsy was dead by February 11th, how did she call Cloudberry on the 12th? If the call was missed, why didn't someone in the house pick it up? Who else was in the Hackman home that day? Security footage. Vanished police turned to the Hackman home's security system, hoping for answers. But when they asked Gene's assistant, Michael Henshaw, for footage, he hit them with a major red flag. The cameras stopped recording on February 10th. A system glitch, he claimed. That meant all footage from February 11th to 13th was gone. Technical failure or deliberate erasure? Why did the cameras cut out exactly when Betsy supposedly passed? If Gene and Betsy were alone in the house, why was there no sign of movement for 3 days? A mysterious black SUV. A surprise witness emerged, Ellen Wexler, a neighbor across the street. She reported seeing a black SUV parked outside the Hackman home on the morning of February 12th. I didn't see anyone go in or out, but the car sat there for over an hour. Police checked traffic cameras. She wasn't imagining it. At 10:35 a.m. on February 12th, a black SUV arrived outside the Hackman residence. Then, just as silently as it came, it left. Cops ran the license plate. It didn't exist. Final clue, a deleted text message. Digging deeper into Betsy's phone data, forensic techs recovered a deleted text from February 12th. 2 words. It's done. Who sent it? Who received it? And most chilling of all, what exactly was done? A cryptic message? We need to talk. Arrived from an unknown number on February 12th. Minutes later, it was erased. But who deleted it? Betsy couldn't have. If it landed on the 12th, someone else handled her phone. Who? Gene had no knowledge of it. That left one possibility. Whoever touched Betsy's phone that day was inside the house. The deeper police dug, the less this resembled a simple passing. If Betsy had truly died on February 11th, why was her phone being used on the 12th? If she was alive to call Cloudberry Health that morning, what happened after? And then there was the ghost SUV, a mystery vehicle parked outside the Hackman residence for over an hour on February 12th. No record of the plates, no trace of its occupants. It's done. We need to talk. What did it mean? The dead don't send messages, so who did? And what secret was being buried? A shocking discovery in Betsy's call. Logs re-examining Betsy Hackman's call history, police stumbled upon a game-changing revelation. She hadn't just contacted Cloudberry Health on February 12th for her own checkup. She booked it for Gene. Dr. Josiah Child, the physician who took her call, remembered it clearly. She wanted to schedule a cardiac exam for Mr. Hackman. It wasn't her first time asking. This revelation shifted the entire case. Betsy wasn't just concerned about Gene's health. She was deeply alarmed, even more unsettling. This wasn't the first time she had scheduled a medical evaluation for her husband. A pattern in Gene's medical appointments. Police uncovered a strange pattern in Gene Hackman's medical history. January 29th. Betsy booked a heart checkup for Gene. February 10th. She canceled it, claiming Gene was feeling unwell. February 12th. She called back, urgently rescheduling. What changed? Why cancel an important checkup, only to rebook it 2 days later? Even stranger, Gene showed no signs of illness. Housekeeper Maria Esteban, present on February 9th and 10th, dismissed the claim that Gene was sick. I saw him eat breakfast, take his usual walk in the garden. He looked fine to me. If Gene wasn't unwell, why did Betsy say he was? What made her cancel that first appointment? And more critically, what happened between February 10th and 12th to make her change her mind? Betsy's fear. A hidden clue? Dr. Child provided another chilling detail. Weeks before, Betsy called asking about heart tests for Gene. She was deeply worried, kept asking about hidden symptoms. There had been no clear red flags, yet Betsy's anxiety was growing. The February 12th call wasn't just a routine booking. It was urgent. Did she notice something alarming about Gene's condition? Or worse, did she discover something beyond health? The abrupt call drop. Betsy's call to Cloudberry Health on February 12th lasted precisely 4 minutes and 32 seconds before it suddenly ended. Dr. Child recalled the exact moment. I was explaining the tests when she cut me off. I've got to go, and hung up. Why? Was someone there? Did she hear something? Or did someone stop her from speaking? An overlooked receipt. Digging further, police found a pharmacy receipt tucked inside Betsy's purse, dated February 10th, the same day she canceled Gene's first appointment. Her purchases? Heart support medication. A mild sedative, a home urine test kit. Why would she need these right before canceling the February 10th checkup? Had she tested Gene herself? Did she find something that made her back out of the appointment? Or was Gene not the one she feared? 3 theories on Betsy's final days. She discovered a serious health issue in Gene and needed medical confirmation. She found something more sinister, possibly about someone else. Someone pressured her to cancel on February 10th, but she defied them by rebooking on the 12th. Whatever the truth, she never made it to that appointment. That's no coincidence. Why cancel on the 10th and rebook on the 12th? What did Betsy learn in her final days? Why did her morning call to Cloudberry suddenly drop? Was she being watched? Was she stopped? Did someone know she'd never make it to that appointment? A case no longer considered routine. Betsy Hackman had scheduled a health check for Gene. Instead of seeing a doctor, she vanished under mysterious circumstances. The deeper police searched, the stranger the case became. Phone logs, medical records, cryptic messages, none of it aligned with a simple natural passing. If detectives' instincts were right, this wasn't just an unexplained death. Betsy knew something, and someone made sure that secret died with her. One final twist: Gene Hackman's sudden death. A week after Betsy's body was found, Gene Hackman passed away. Official cause: Natural age-related decline? But was it really that simple? Or was it something far more calculated? No one was willing to say it out loud. Until Sheriff Nathan Caldwell issued a stunning statement after reviewing new evidence. We must adjust our understanding of what happened in the Hackman household. The case was far from closed. The unconfirmed timeline. The official report states Betsy Hackman passed on February 11th, but that claim is anything but certain. Once the media caught wind of the inconsistencies, the case erupted into a storm of speculation. If Betsy didn't die on the 11th, why did Gene never mention her that week? If she was alive on February 12th, why did no one see or hear from her afterward? And the biggest question, did Gene know the truth? A haunting gap in time. Every answer points to one unsettling fact. Something happened between February 11th and 18th, and no one wants to face what that might be. Gene Hackman died exactly 1 week after Betsy. His official cause? Old age, failing health. But the forensic report raised red flags. No major illness, no history of heart failure or stroke, no clear reason why he simply went, a tragic coincidence, or something far more deliberate. Gene's silence speaks, volumes. A crucial, easily missed detail. Gene never acknowledged Betsy's passing, not once. No calls to friends, no rushed funeral arrangements, no statement to the media. People close to him said he seemed haunted in his final days, muttering cryptic phrases under his breath, as if questioning, why did it happen this way? What really happened? A longtime friend recalled those eerie words, which leads to a disturbing thought. Did John know the truth, and did it break him? Or worse, was he keeping a secret? The investigation that wasn't with so many red flags, police should have dug deeper. Instead, the case vanished into silence. Consider the facts. Betsy's phone was still active after her supposed death. Cloudberry Health missed a call from her number on February 12th. Dr. Child swore Betsy was alive beyond February 11th. Gene died exactly 1 week later, under vague circumstances. This should have triggered a full-scale inquiry. Instead, it was buried fast. Forensic reports sealed. No official cause of Gene's death. No autopsy performed. Case records locked from the press. That's not standard procedure. That's a cover-up. A truth buried with them. The timeline doesn't add up. Betsy's death was dated February 11th, but phone records prove she was alive on the 12th. Gene lived for another 7 days, yet never mentioned his wife. His own death remains a mystery. No clear cause, no proper investigation. And when police quietly flipped the timeline, they gave no real explanation. The records were tidied up quickly, leaving no trail to follow. This isn't random, it's a story erased. One thing is certain, Gene and Betsy Hackman knew something, and now neither is here to tell it. The scariest part? Someone ensured that truth stayed buried. All leads, wiped, key witnesses, gone, case, closed. But the questions haven't disappeared. Gene and Betsy Hackman's story ended in silence. But was it a natural quiet, or a carefully crafted hush? The public may move on, but those paying attention know this isn't over. Can the truth still be found? This is just a theory, a puzzle pieced together from the strange, unanswered fragments of the Hackman case. Maybe it was all coincidence. Maybe there's nothing bigger hiding in the shadows. Or maybe there's a truth still out there, stashed away, waiting, watching. And the real question is, if someone dares to chase it, will they live long enough to tell?